We had the Attorney General last year make several comments and give guidance to parents about, I think his quote last year was something like, "You wouldn't hand a physical photo album to a stranger. Why would you do the same with your kids online?" And then you had the AFP a couple of months ago off the back of that increase that they were seeing in online child exploitation, which is awful. Also, give a warning to parents to really think seriously about the photos that they're posting online. And so you've got two really, really examples that need to be taken very seriously there.
Welcome to another episode of the Unicorns podcast. I'm your host, Justin Kelly. Today on the show, we're talking to Zsofi Paterson, the CEO of Tinybeans, one of Australia's most loved tech success stories. Tinybeans is a listed company on the ASX with the code TNY. Tinybeans is a private photo sharing and journaling app that helps parents capture and share family moments safely, away from the chaos and risks of social media. The company has just made a big move in the US, acquiring Boston-based journaling platform Keepsake in an all-stock deal that almost doubles its paid subscribers and lifts revenue by more than 80%. It's a fascinating story that sits at the intersection of parenting, technology, and trust, where privacy has become the new premium. Zsofi Paterson, welcome to the program.
What a great intro. Thank you for having me.
For those listeners, Zsofi, who are not familiar with Tinybeans and the Tinybeans story, can you perhaps begin with the short version of what the platform does and why parents love it?
Absolutely. Well, you gave such a nice wrap up of what we do, but essentially, we're a private and safe family memory platform. At our core, we're an application available across the iOS App Store, the Play Store, and also on web and desktop. And we offer a secure and custom built environment for families to really hold, save, store, share their memories in either written form, photo, or video. Yeah, that's the core of what we do. And we become a really central and ingrained part of families' kind of lives from very early. We find, the vast majority of our subscribers, and we have, you mentioned we have about 50,000 paid subscribers today, but we've got several 100,000 free subscribers. The majority are in the US. We're very much a US centric business. And really, families start to use us from very early on in their kids' lives. So we find that it's often first time parents with a baby under 3 months that decide they want to find a way to start accumulating and saving and safely sharing the hundreds of photos that they start to take. And that's what they use us for. And we end up offering that solution to them for years and years. So we do find we have a very strong high retention, high engagement, and high LTV. And we do find families that have been using us almost daily for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So that's us at our core.
And how did you first become aware of the app?
Well, I was a user. So I actually discovered Tinybeans shortly after my first daughter was born back in 2020 in the depths of COVID. I heard about Tinybeans on a podcast, and I was already starting to take hundreds of photos of my tiny baby every day. And I said, "Hey, I'm going to give this a go," and got myself set up, backloaded. A bit of a type A mum, and we have a lot of mums that are like that, but backloaded a few, the few weeks of my baby's life that I had missed, and added my mum, my grandma, and my mother-in-law, and instantly it became a hit, and it became like a daily sugar rush for my family, we were all at that point locked in our homes. And it was the most seamless way for us to be able to not have a whole bunch of WhatsApp, um, Facebook Messenger, public posts. We had all of these memories in one place. All my family were getting them at the same time, and they came to rely on them. And so fast forward, that was my oldest daughter is about to start kindy next year, so she's just turned 5. We've been using it every single day for 5 years. Um, about 3 years ago or 2 years ago, I had, my second daughter, and I was sitting with her and thinking about what I might like to do when I returned after her mat leave. And I kept thinking about Tinybeans and the opportunity that I thought that it presented. I had run in my past another subscription business that had done, we'd done very well. I'd learned the mechanics of, like, what to look for in a high value subscription business. This was in the health and wellness space. Um, and I saw some similar threads in Tinybeans, but I thought, "Hey, I think we can do this bit better." And then I ended up being introduced to the company, went through a round of interviews, and was appointed as their CEO just over 2 years ago, and here I am. So I'm a power user and the CEO.
What a what a great story. So you started off using it, and now what was that, Remington? I love the business, I bought the company. So,
Uh,
yeah.
Pretty much. Well, I don't own the company. We've got a lot of shareholders that own the company, which we're very grateful for. But I mean, you see it and you believe it, right? And yeah, it is a funny story. And it's positioned me so well to lead this business because I'm a passionate user. I'm a strong advocate for it. I'm the first person to be testing the new product features. I'm deeply involved in the product roadmap, how we go to market, and hopefully there's some benefit to my team of me being such a power user of the product.
Power user. And tell me, when you're on the app and sharing memories, is it normally, Joffy, restricted to, young memories of younger children, babies, and, watching them grow up? Or have you got adults and grandparents and everyone just putting everything on there? How, like,
Oh,
give us an idea of what's
that's
on
such a
there.
that's such a great question. So certainly our primary customer and our target market is new families, and that's because that is the time that you're taking, tens or hundreds of photos per day of this
No.
tiny
Yes.
inanimate thing. Um, and so really we are, in our go to market and how we talk about the brand, that's where we're focused. But then you see, like, my family, for example, we end up sharing, like, the people that are on that, my mother, my in-laws, my siblings, they end up sharing their big moments on there as well, which is really nice. And certainly we have a vision that this product can be utilized in more ways than it currently is today, which is really that early family sharing. But to my point earlier on in the discussion, one of the things that makes Tiny Beans so special and unique and actually very valuable is the lifetime value. And that's because normally, you have a product that, people use for a couple of months or a year or two or whatever, but Tiny Beans really, once you have a family engaged, it can last. We do have users. The company's been around since 2012, long and long and long before my time. I run into people when I'm at conferences or events that say to me, "I've been using it every day for 10 years." I'm like, "Great, keep doing that."
The OGs.
The OGs, yeah.
Well, I mentioned in the intro the acquisition of
Mhm.
Keepsake. Let's get into the details about that. What was it that drew you to that business, and why is it a good strategic fit?
Yeah, so like us, Keepsake, no one in Australia knows the business because it is only available in North America. But Keepsake, like us, is another tool or product or platform that enables families to capture those precious early moments and those precious early memories. So again, it's catering typically to new families, and oftentimes it's the mum that's doing the journaling. And what I mean by journaling is, like, they are creating uh, updates about their kids' milestones, that what's happening in their lives, etc. And the thing that makes Keepsake really special and helped it grow to where it is today is the fact that it utilizes SMS-based prompts. So the users will actually be sent a text message that is like, "Hey, tell me something funny Johnny did today," or like, "Did Johnny do anything new or special today," or whatever. And it's the ease of them being able to write a response directly in the SMS, upload a photo, and that then populates into the digital journal, which at the end of the year can actually be turned into a beautiful printed book as well. So
I
it kind
love
of
those books.
yeah, I'm glad because I hope we get to talk about them a little bit more in due course. We love them too. Um, so for us, it's a business that was is a bit smaller than us. I mean, very similar actually, though. They have today around 40 thousand paid subscribers. Sorry, they have more than that today, but our plans are talking about where we're going to be in a year's time. But they add significant scale. So, from a combined business, this will help us grow from 50,000 paid subscribers to about 90,000 paid subscribers. They have a nice US revenue as well. So their revenue is around about 4 million US. Ours was about just under 5 million US. So it almost again doubles, or it adds 85% to our revenue if you're looking at a pro forma basis for the year. There's lots of product and platform synergies as well. Yeah, we have plans to basically build out the feature set that Keepsake has within Tinybeans, and then safely and securely migrate their subscribers over to Tinybeans, and lead with the one brand, one platform strategy. So, yeah, it made a lot of strategic sense for us. We think we did we're very happy with the deal that we've done. So yeah.
And is it potentially the start of a wider roll up strategy looking for other targets either in the US or globally?
Yeah, look, it could be. I mean, we've got our work cut out for us over the next 6 to 12 months in integrating and making the most, realizing the value and the benefits of this acquisition, which we have strong plans to do, and we will complete the deal in the next couple of days, and then really move very quickly into the integration. Um, but yes, like their CEO who's joining our business and the chair of their board who's joining our board, we feel quite excited and optimistic about like what a larger platform will then open up and enable for us. And we do think there's, lots of opportunities that may be organic or inorganic that we may be able to consider once we've done a successful job and showing that we can actually integrate the businesses, and we come out the end as a business with more scale and on a path to profitability.
I see that you've just launched your own photo store. I'm curious about that. How does that work, Joffy?
Well, hence why I loved your comment that you love those
I
photo
do.
books.
I do.
I've got one sitting right on my desk here.
There you
So
go.
we have a job where we want to not only grow our subscribers, but we want to monetize them more effectively than we currently do. We do have the benefit of being a subscription led business, which has been something I've been very focused on, making sure that that's the path we're taking over these couple of years, since I've been in the role. Subscription revenue is great because it's recurring, it's scalable, it's predictable, it's typically non-cyclical. So for me, that is always like revenue type number one. Revenue type number two is a recurring transactional based revenue. So like an e-com revenue that's linked possibly to a subscription or something. And that's essentially what photo books and photo products are for us. We've got all these users that are sitting there throughout the year making these digital albums, like on their phone, or they're working on their digital kind of journal. And then the natural extension there is to then at the end of each year, or the end of the kids first year, second year, third year, fourth year, etc., or for Mother's Day, um, print and create a book or a calendar or three. And so before we bought Keepsake, we knew that we wanted to innovate in this space, and so we've been hard at work over the last few months doing that. And we've just this week launched our new iOS photo store, and it's amazing because it means that I'm a photo bookmaker as well, but typically I it's my project, my after hours project. I sit there, I've got to pick all the photos, I've got to convert them from whatever file they are into like whatever file the platform that I use needs. I've then got to spend lots and lots of time curating them, organizing them, etc. We now do that for you within 5 minutes. So I literally made a photo book 2 weeks ago, and then a calendar last week as a gift for my brother of a recent holiday we went on in less than 5 minutes.
How do
Uh,
you do that?
Magic technology.
Magic. Are you using, without giving away the secret sauce, but are you utilizing, I hope you are, AI to assist in all of this?
Look, we are to assist in the kind of in that speed for sure, and we do it very safely as well because I think that, is the most important thing to a lot of the families that are using us. But we are using it to basically help accelerate that process and basically go, the user picks what kind of product they want, how many photos they want, and then we do utilize AI to help organize that in a smart and seamless way. So it basically builds a book for you and uses like smart clustering to group photos from same date or same people or etc. And it's really awesome. Like it's taken me a second to get my head around the fact I'm not sitting online on a desktop organizing every single detail. So
Just let it go.
I just have to let it go at my reference to me being a type A mum. I just have to let it go.
Let it
Um, but I've got it here. I mean, your listeners won't be able to see this, but, like, this book was made in
voila. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Well, I had a beautiful family holiday in Fiji, so I've made this for my mum as one of our test books, and, it was made in minutes, so it's awesome. And then it comes within a week. We utilize, like, local printing and fulfillment and shipping, so, yeah, hopefully it's really
What is that? Because I'm sure people have come, myself included, have come back from a holiday going, "I must make a book out of that," and it never happens.
yeah.
Roughly, what does it cost? And I'm not gonna keep you into, like, a confirmed figure, but give us a ballpark.
Yeah,
Uh,
so it depends very much on how many pages you want in a book, really. Like a small book might start at 40-ish dollars or something. And then if you're building a book for a year, then that will get up to
yeah.
100 plus
Okay.
dollars or whatever. But something we've just launched as well alongside like revamped books is calendars. So, and they're a really nice price point. They're $40 and they're the perfect gift, right? And we've already seen, we soft launched our photo store last week. And we've had a few repeat purchases in that went and made one and now I've come back and made and ordered the same calendar like a few times. So obviously, for the grandparents or the aunties and
Yeah,
uncles.
good.
Yeah, it is. So like, I mean, we're feeling good about it. It's very early days, but we're really hopeful that this will, really materially add to our revenue over the coming years.
Let's touch on, market trends and what's being called the anxiety economy for a moment. A lot of rule changes, changing regulations, attitude towards what's appropriate online, sharing of data, screen time. Where does Tinybeans sit into that very complex conversation, Joffy?
Yeah, it is a complex conversation. It's a heavy conversation, but it's essentially we're at a stage now where people recognize the potential dangers in having kids' photos, videos, data available on public platforms. The potential for misuse is really high. We had the Attorney General last year make several comments and give guidance to parents about, I think his quote last year was something like, "You wouldn't hand a physical photo album to a stranger. Why would you do the same with your kids online?" And then you had the AFP a couple of months ago off the back of that increase that they were seeing in online child exploitation, which is awful, also give a warning to parents to, like, really think seriously about the photos that they're posting online. And so you've got 2 really really ta examples that need to be taken very seriously there. And Tiny Beans essentially helps solve that gap for parents. We know parents want to share, that our little kids are our pride and joy. We want the world to see them, but, there's probably more to be thought about than just the gratification that we might get from the likes and love hearts on public platforms, right? So, Tiny Beans offers exactly that as a solution. It allows you to, share your kids' photos with and I talk only about my family. I have a very tight circle that sit on my Tiny Beans album, but, we do have some users who have, 30, 40, 50 people, so, like, a tighter group than what they might have on social media, but they do want more of their friends or whoever, godparents, neighbors, whatever, to see their kids. So that's really the space we play in, and we really, really encourage parents to be very mindful about the choices they're making. We're not a brand that comes out and wants to shame or embarrass or make parents feel bad about choices they have made in the past or they're continuing to make, but we certainly advocate very strongly for parents to be thinking about about this. And, our platform is built with privacy and trust and safety and security at its heart. Um, Photos that are shared within Tinybeans are not available or used by any of the public AI platforms. Um, so yeah, and then it is built with like those the feature. I mean, the use case is that you're making very specific choices about who you want to see your photos, as opposed to I've got people from the last 20 years I've amassed on, Facebook or Instagram or
That's
whatever.
right.
Yeah,
So it's again for those that are not familiar with the platform. This is lockdown content.
yeah,
It's secure. It's almost like you're living in a gated community of
yeah,
only those trusted people
yeah,
within your immediate network.
yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And so, what advice, Joffy, would you have for parents who have potentially shared images of their children on social media or are trying to find the balance between that need for privacy and the desire to remember milestones and share them with a family member?
Well, there's a platform called Tinybeans. Um, but it's that, like, we do recognize, like, we know that parents want to share, they want to engage over these moments with their inner circle, and we encourage them to do so. We just encourage them to make good decisions and to review their decisions, right? Like, I do think there is a change, when you do have a baby that, that they almost don't look like themselves in those early weeks, right? Like,
Right. It's
a
true.
and I mean, so I do understand, and, like, you're wrapped in those moments of euphoria and joy, and, like, everything has changed in your world, and so, it's okay if you've shared, or and you wanna then change your stance. Like, I personally have changed my stance on it. I did come to Tinybeans first and foremost for the ease and for the fact that I love having one organized place with all my memories and photos rather than through my 10,000 other photos in my camera roll. And over time, both in my kids growing up a little bit and then also in doing this job, have I come to really change my stance there. And that's okay. I think that people should be encouraged to just think about it a bit more proactively, um, as they go, and you
Mm.
can't change your mind. So that's what I would say.
And do you think those attitudes are evolving and changing? Because I can remember when Facebook first came out, everyone was putting everything up there. Um, how have you seen um, people sharing habits evolve over the years?
Well, I think what we've been talking about, like, I do think that, 5 years ago when I had my first daughter, like, I was not into sharing that much on my social media. My social media is private, but I do have, as I mentioned, hundreds of people from, 20 years of social media. Um, but I did share photos and videos on there. And, there was the thing around sharenting, like, I think that was the common concern with, like, sharing photos on public media, social media back 5, 6 years ago. It was around, it's just not cool to share so many photos of your kids, whereas now it's much more conversations about privacy, security, trust, safety, consent as well is a big one. There's lots of conversations about your kids can't give consent, like, at this age to
That's
be
true.
posting their photos, and you're seeing cases in, like, parts of Europe where the kids are starting to sue parents for putting photos of them online that they didn't give consent to.
I've
So
read about that. Yeah.
yeah, it's wild. So definitely, this is a changing and an evolving landscape, and I think it will continue to be. But I do think we are never going to see a trend. I I don't want that's a very strong way to state it, but I don't think we'll ever see a trend back where parents suddenly decide it is okay to share a whole bunch of photos online.
Let's take a little deeper dive into the business. Can you give us, and you've touched on this already, can you give our listeners an idea of the size and scale of the operation and where you'd like to take the business?
Yeah, for sure. So today we are, 50,000 paid subscribers, several hundred thousand. We've got about, just under a million monthly active users. The combined business will now almost double that subscriber base, and add kind of 80% to our revenue as well. So that puts us up around, the expectation. We're not giving guidance as a business, but, if you look at our FY25 pro forma revenues, that puts us around 8-9 million US dollars. We are working towards profitability. We have had a couple of quarters over this year of being positive operating cash flows, which has been like terrific milestones. We expect there will be a little bit of cash burn over this year with the integration and some product development and some marketing initiatives that we have planned, but we certainly, expect the business and, this acquisition will help accelerate our path towards EBITDA profitability in the midterm. So yeah, that's how we're looking at the kind of next 1 to 2 years. Um, Look, this is a business that should be highly scalable. There's a big target market. It serves, a wide audience. I think the thing that we're really focused on is how we expand a little bit. We've talked a bit about the fact that our current target market is quite small and quite niche when we bring people in, but how do we expand that? How do we make sure this platform, which actually has a lot of utility for all sorts of people, there is an on-ramp in for those people. So yeah, we think this business is, we're kind of uh, the last 2 years for me in leading this company, it has been a bit of a cleanup and turnaround. I started with a whole lot more, a lot of operating overhead, a lot of operating costs, and we've brought that well and truly down. We've really cleaned the shop. We've got a really, tight, well-run business, and now it's really about, innovation and hopefully growth as well.
How are you finding being the CEO of a company that's listed on the ASX?
Look, I was comfortable stepping into another CEO role. I'd run as I mentioned, I'd been a CEO in the past, of a private company that was private equity backed, and that had its own challenges. But there I really cut my teeth on being a CEO and running a business, or managing a P&L, managing a board, managing a full operating team. I'm glad I had that experience to then step into this role because the ASX world has certainly been a lot to learn. There is much more kind of time on compliance and process and reporting, things that I don't naturally love doing. But it's all been great learning and great growth, and it's certainly easier now than it was 2 years ago when I started the job. Um, but yeah, look, hopefully being a public business will be really beneficial to us. We've seen terrific reaction from our key shareholders and from the market to this deal we announced on Monday, last Monday. And and it's nice. You see their stock price when it moves in the right direction. It's a great feeling. But there's a lot you don't control in that stock price, so that's always hard as well.
Well, it's been great to talk with you, Joffy. Thank you very much for sharing your insights with us on the unicorns. Zsofi Paterson, the CEO of Tinybeans, a pleasure to have you on the program, and we wish you all the very best for the years ahead.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great.